Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a battle of the palette. I'm going to be putting the Sweet Peach palette from Too Faced and the Makeup Revolution Peach palette to the battle to see which one is the best. I'm gonna do a makeup tutorial, the one that I'm wearing on my eyeballs right now. But first of all, I'm going to discuss these palettes because I've got to play around with them. I felt like there was absolutely no point in me talking about these palettes before I place them on my eyeballs. I'm going to show you the tutorial later on, but for now I'm going to discuss the palettes in detail. There is no denying it. Makeup Revolution is blowing everything out of the water. It's bringing out these amazing products. I think Makeup Revolution is just bomb. I did a full face testing at Makeup Revolution, linked down below if you guys would like to check it out. I know I'm being very extra today, sorry, I'm in very good form. It's a Friday and I'm just happy out. So the Sweet Peach palette, let's talk about it. Too Faced brought this out in April, I believe. It was like gold dust. It was impossible to get. I didn't get my hands on it first time round. Thankfully, I got it the second time round because Too Faced was so kind and they sent it to me, so I'm forever grateful for that. The palette looks like this on the inside. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with what it looks like. Everybody and their mother has done a tutorial with this, including myself, and I have been playing around with this probably for about 3 weeks. Yeah, maybe a little bit over 3 weeks. Almost every time I put makeup on my eyes, I will go to this palette because I just find it really handy. It has everything I need. I'm just loving peach at the moment. The smell of it, the aroma is just beautiful. And I just think peach is really fresh and gorgeous for the spring, which we're almost hitting, which is going to be fantastic because I am so over this winter and the cold weather. I still have a hot water bottle. I still have the heating on full blast. So spring, come to me. The palette has an array of different shadows in it, between matte, some are shimmery and some are satin finish. I will link down my full kind of first impressions of the palette below. That palette is about €45, I think, €49, something like that. I Heart Makeup, which is owned by Makeup Revolution, I think they're all kind of one body, brought out its own palette. Now this is called the Chocolate and Peaches palette. I just call it their peach palette. It looks like this on the inside. So we are noticing quite a few similarities, but you will notice that there is a big chunk of eyeshadows here, which means that we've lost 2 of the shades. So the 2 shades that differ from either palette are the lovely purple that's down here. It's actually personally one of my favorite shades in this palette. The other shade that does not have a dupe is the shade Bellini. So what I will explain to you about this palette is the shades are kind of mixed up a little bit because we are missing those 2 shadows. Not everything is in the same position as it is in this palette. So my thoughts on this palette. When I placed this palette onto my eyes this morning, I was happily shocked that this palette blends out like a dream. This palette is so creamy and pigmented on the eye. I use it on this eye here. The thing that I like about it actually is this shade here, which in the Sweet Peach palette is called just Peachy, and it's at the top there, has a lot more pigmentation to it. There's a lot more depth to it. It's a little bit chunkier on the eye, which I like. It's not like too chunky. It just has more reflex in it. I just prefer this shade. Everything in this palette is pretty similar. Those 2 shades apart that I already explained, they blend out quite similarly on the eye. They have the same kind of pigmentation. I mean, you can see it on my eye. They are so pigmented. You will see it from the tutorial as well, how easy they blend. So I'm going to do a couple of swatches of these palettes. I use this one on this eye and this one on that eye. To be honest, if I owned this palette, I would not feel justified in buying this. I would just not bother. But if you can get your hands on this one, I would definitely recommend picking it up. I love Too Faced to death. I really, really do. But their palettes are very expensive. So if you're on a budget, you just don't have the money to spend on a €49 palette, I will write down the proper price below, then I would highly recommend going with this one. So instead of talking a little bit more about the palette, I'm actually going to do swatches, and I'm just going to do like an overlay and talk a little bit about the swatches because there's no point in me talking too much about palettes anymore. You guys get the gist of it. You want to see what the shadows look like. So like I said, there's 2 shadows that are missing. I won't be swatching them from the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette because they're not in the other one. So I just want to do the equivalent shadow. So guys, for me, this palette gets a huge thumbs up. I just cannot believe that Makeup Revolution are able to dupe the Too Faced palette so well. It is almost like an identical. They're like twins. They're just so close. So if you do get your hands on this, please let me know what you think of it. To be honest, I don't notice a huge huge difference. Okay guys, I'm gonna do the tutorial right now for you, and then I'm gonna do the swatches at the end. So if you want to watch that, then stay tuned. And if not, I will talk to you in my next video. Rightio, well, to prime both eyes, I'm taking Paint Early Paint Pot. I just applied some tape. People give out about when I wear tape. Guys, I just wear it because I use it as a guide. You don't have to include it, obviously. I'm just not a makeup artist, and it just helps with application of my eye products. So I'm just gonna apply the base onto my eyelid. I'm gonna take the Sweet Peach palette on this eye, so the original Too Faced one. And first off, I'm going to set the eye with this. I'm just gonna apply that all over the lid. Oh my, oh dear. Whoa, it went a bit ham there. And then from the Makeup Revolution one, I'm going to take this big shade here and just apply that all over this eyelid. I'm going to take Puree now from the Too Faced palette. I'm just going to place that through the crease just as like a transition shade. Okay, from Makeup Revolution's palette, I'm going to go in with this shade here, which is similar to Puree in my opinion. Similar to what I did. Oops. Ooh, I need a more controlling brush. This is a bit too much. That shade is very pigmented. Okay, so from Too Faced palette, I'm going to take this shade here, which if it focuses is called Summer Yum, and I'm just going to place that with a flat shader brush. This might seem a bit weird, into the crease, because I'm just going to trace the crease with this, and I'm going to blend it all out in a minute. And I'm just going to take a fluffy brush and blend it out. I just wanted to warm up the crease. Now for Makeup Revolution, this shade here is very similar to Summer Yum, so I'm going to apply that into the crease again the same way. And then just blend it out. So next up, I want to add a bit of depth out to the outer corner, so I'm going to take Delectable, this kind of purple shade here. I didn't want to go in with more brown, so I think purple is a good alternative. And then just gonna blend that out as well to make it less harsh. Okay, I'm so stupid. They don't have this purple shade in the other palette, so I'm just gonna take it in this eyeshadow look. I'm just gonna put it on the outer V here. It's not really gonna make a huge difference to the look. I'm just kind of annoyed. I should have noticed that before. I am going to take just Peachy, and I'm going to place it on the inner portion of my eye. I absolutely love this shade. It's so pretty. I further want to deep up outside of that V, so I'm taking this shade here, which is called Talk Derby to Me. I'm just going to place that just along the tape and feather it in a little bit. This is almost like a black shade. It's so deep and purple. From this palette, I'm going to take this shade here, which is a very simple, very similar to that just peachy shade. This shade, it's a little bit more chunky than this shade. And then again from that palette, I'm going to go in with this deep purple. Just do the same thing that I did with the Too Faced side. Just run it along the tape and kind of feather it in, blend it out. Okay, lastly from this palette, I'm going to take this shade here and I'm just going to place it right into the inner portion of my eye. And now from this palette, I just wiped that little brush off and I'm going to go in with this shade here. It's very similar to the other one. I'm also going to place White Peach again, the one that I used to set the eye. I'm just going to place that underneath the brow bone too, just to highlight it. There's a huge amount of fallout with that shade. I keep picking up too much of it as well. And from the Too Faced palette, I'm going to take this shade here on the same brush, just wiped off, and just apply that underneath my brow also. Okay guys, I'm going to do wing liner. I'm going to apply some lashes. I'm going to use these Rebel Una lashes and they're in the style Izzy. I'm going to apply them. They're an Irish brand. Actually, just before I apply mascara and eyelashes, I'm just going to take this purple, the darker purple again, and I'm just going to run it along the lower lash line, just kind of the outer third. Kind of smoke that lower lash line out and just tie the whole look together. And then on a flat shader brush, I'm going to take Summer Yum and just blend them together. Again, from this palette, I'm going to take this dark purple and place it on the outer portion of my lower lash line as well. And I'm just going to take this shade here and place it with a brush into the inner 2/3 of my eye. Okay, now I'm going to apply my mascara and my lashes. Hope you enjoyed this side-by-side comparison and the swatches. I will do a full face tutorial of side-by-side dupes. I know you guys love those videos and I love filming them. I'm just kind of gathering all my bits and pieces together currently, so I will do that in due time. Love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching this video and I will talk to you in my next one. I love you guys. Mwah! Bye!